something that I realized on my healing journey of just like, getting through life and shit. I realized like I was always in this victim. I always had this victim mentality. I always wanted somebody to feel emotionally bad for me for the things that I went through. Like, I understand that like everybody go through a lot of things in their life, like traumatizing things. But it gets to a point where you have to be there for yourself. You have to literally be there for yourself to pull yourself up, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's is going to be there to pull yourself out of the dirt, or pull yourself out of your trauma, or pull yourself out of the thing that you're literally sinking into, the void, the darkness. Nobody's going to pull you out. And I had a hard time, like, this is like coming from experience. I had a hard time of wrapping my head around that. Like, like I wanted people to feel bad. Like, I wanted people to understand how I feel. Like, I don't care like who you is. I want you to understand my hurt. I want you to understand what I go through. I want you to understand this. I want you to understand that. But half of the time when I used to go through this, or half of the time when a person is even going through all this, they don't really understand their self. And the reason why I say they don't really understand their self, because if they understand their self and they understand that their problems that they're going through, then they will automatically just give themselves a solution. But I know that some people just don't think that way. Some people just want somebody to feel bad for them. And little do you know that having that type of energy, or having that type of mentality, you can literally drain people's energies from that. You can really like just feed off of that simple validation of somebody giving you reassurance, somebody saying, oh, I know you're gonna get through it, I feel bad for you, God bless you. You can get that sense of feeling good and feeling good inside, and that sense of reassurance that everything is gonna be okay. But at the end of the day, it all leads with you and the four corners in that damn room. You and yourself, you and your mind. It's up to you to pick yourself. It's up to you to pick yourself up out of that rut that you're in. Nobody's going to be there to pull your hand out. Nobody. It is life. We go through different types of stages, different types of problems for our life, to learn things for a reason. And if one of the seasons that you're in is having that victim mentality of wanting everybody to feel your hurt, feel your pain, and I get like, we hurt, you need to vent sometimes. But when you're constantly in that mindset of just feeling bad for yourself, and constant depression, and constant of just victim mentality, like, why nothing works out for me, I'm not this, I'm not that, like, that is, I can tell you straight up that with me knowing like a lot of things about the spiritual side, that is most definitely a spirit on you. That is a spirit of depression. And a lot of people got that nowadays, because sometimes, like I said, they in my other videos, they will go and find relatable quotes just to relate to that specific emotion, that specific pain, and they feed off of that quote, and they add it more into themselves and make yourself feel even bad. Like, I was like that. I used to post depressing quotes. I used to do like depressing things, and I would never pull myself out of that rut, because I realized nobody's gonna be there for me. Nobody's gonna save me. Nobody's gonna say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. It was up to me to pull myself out of that shit. It was up to me to get up out my ass and say, okay, I need to distract myself from what I'm going through right now. I remember I was going through a breakup so bad, to the point I was feeling bad for myself. I was depressed, and it got worse on down the line. I'm not gonna say too much, but with my mental being in that state, I wanted somebody to feel bad for me. I wanted that sense of comfort. I want somebody to come and save me, because I had daddy issues, like I did. I wanted somebody to come save me and pick me up at my feet. And I was in that mentality for a long time, wanting somebody to be there for me, until I finally just understand that nobody's gonna be there. Like, it was a sense of everybody just like literally cutting me off. I remember I got kicked out of a group chat. Well, they made a new group chat, and I realized they made a new group chat on my friend's account, and they like literally fucking just kicked me out the group chat, and like they just like, F you, he broke up with you, we're not your friends no more. And I just had that victim mentality. Like, I had that mentality, like, damn, like I was already going through some shit, but then that too, like, and I was like, oh fuck, for days and days I would go through that pain. I would go through that hurt. I would go back into that situation where I was getting fucked up and sick, and I was not healing, and then boom, I would get back into that victim mentality. Now sometimes situations and certain situations that you keep putting yourself in will constantly make you sick and depressed. I'm not gonna lie, like one point I was like self-sabotaging myself a lot, and it came to the point when I started realizing I was self-sabotaging myself, and that's when I automatically just switched to victim mode, because I'm like, why is this happening to me? No, I'm doing it to myself. So stay back, because the more and more you go out and seek for that victim mentality from others, it will become draining, and that's when you're going to be alone like I was. And you have to, it's going to be like a sense of realization where you're like, damn, nobody can help me through this shit but me. It's my emotions, it's my feelings, so I got to do something about this, you know? I got up on my ass and I started working out. Like, that was the best way. I didn't smoke around that time. Like, I didn't know, like, I helped myself in a different way. I smoked a bit, but, you know, it really got me into thinking a lot. So I suppressed myself I had a whole bunch of anger, and I just started working out like crazy. Like, every single day I would work a full fucking shift, and I'll go to the gym. And I'm telling you, I did that for like a whole good 5-6 months, and I don't know, it was just a whole different me. So it's all about transmuting that pain, that hurt, that depression into something that will make a solution for yourself, and something that will just benefit you in the long run, because you can't feel sorry and you can't feel bad for yourself forever. Like, you can't keep on posting quotes and listening to depressing music forever. You can't do that. You really can't, because like at the end of the day, what are you doing what is it doing to you? You're going to continue to vibrate on that low vibration. You're going to continue to feel bad for yourself, and you wonder why things is not working out. You wonder why, you know, your situation is not, but you wonder why that situation is not progressing. It's not moving. Nothing's changing. You've been in a season forever. Get the fuck up and get off your ass and go do some, like, that's like, if nobody has told you to do that, get up off your behind and go listen to some music that is good for your mental state. Go and look up some motivational quotes instead of looking up relatable quotes to how you feel. You can always change your emotion, because emotion is a transitory state of consciousness that we can pass over. You can get over that shit. Like, if you've been depressed for years, man, I don't know what to tell you. You gotta do something. You can't be like, that's one thing about me. Like, you know, I like being sad, but like to an extent. I can't be sad forever, because like, it's just at that point you using everybody else's energy but yours. You're not even experiencing your full extent of yourself at that point, when you're feeding off everybody's energy just because you want that sense of, you know, sorrowness, of how that feeling of reassurance for them, you know. So if nobody has told you, get up, stop feeling sorry for yourself, get that bag, get your mental state right, do things that is for you, change your music style, change your friend style, change how you communicate to yourself, you know. Just stop being in that victim mode. Like, be like, recognize who you're being, recognize what character, or recognize what character you're operating in that moment. If you're operating like a child in that moment, operating like a teenager in that moment, operating like an adult in that moment, operate in an adult in that moment when you're acting like a child, so you can give yourself advice. Because most of us, we don't have moms, we don't have dads, like, we don't have shit. So some of us, we're gonna fall to that victim mentality. We're gonna fall to that state where we're gonna feel sorrow and sad for ourselves. But it's a time where you gotta stand up for yourself. It's a time that you gotta grab your inner child by his hand and be like, look, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this shit. That's all it is. You gotta be there for yourself, because who's gonna be there for you? And that's how I always look at that. That's how I always looked at it. Like, throughout my whole life, when I just hit the realization of, you know, nobody's gonna come save you, I had to grab my inner child by his hand and like, look, I'm gonna guide you. I'm gonna do the best I can to protect you, because I know that sense of inner child that's always been within me has a light that is so bright that will shine, and I'm pretty sure you have that as well. That inner child is so bright. Like, think about how you was little when you first, you know, was excited about something that lighted up your eyes and made like this overwhelming sensation of happiness within you. You can experience that again. It's just a season that you're in. You need to grab that inner child by his hand and guide it to the light. No matter what you go through, block it. Like, I'm visualizing this in my head as I say this. Just grab her, grab him. It's gonna be okay. We gonna get through this. Talk to yourself as you're an adult to that inner child, because all it is when you're in that victimization moment, or when you're like hurt, it's that inner child that really needs to be heard. That's all it is. Your inner child needs to be heard, because it goes back to trauma. It goes back to how your parents treat you. If you was not heard enough as a child, it always go back to that when you're in a victimization, when you're in that victim moment. So talk to that inner child. Just, I know that it's going to be hard, but you got to have 2 personalities in this bitch. At most, man. Talk to him. Talk to her. Like, I talk to my inner child. Not all the time, but here and now. I remember the first time I ever talked to my inner child, I thought that shit was like, I thought it was just like, you know, just people just saying that they got an inner child. But when you actually talk to that inner child, no, that inner child talks back. Like, real like, I remember the first time me and my boyfriend was on, well, the second time, me and my boyfriend was ever on shrooms. And he heard my inner child. I'm like, damn, you heard that? Like, it was, you know, connected. That's a story for another day. But at the same time, like, man, it's more to the world than being sad. Okay? The 2 lowest vibrations you can be on is lust and sadness. Take your hand, take that person that's inside you, take her by the hand, take him by the hand, and say, we're going to be okay.